Hey guys and gals, MR.O here, and boy do I have another death metal episode for you. And let me tell ya, this is Wile E Coyote versus Tomcat. On the days prior to the Sunday in which it came out, I believed that it would have surpassed Scooby-Doo vs. Courage in terms of cartoon sanity. However, upon watching it, I can say it was more or less around that level. Almost. Despite that, it's still a very fun episode in its own way. From the analysis, all the way to the fight. First off, the analysis for Wile E vs. Tom was spectacular, touching upon the many different eras in which their respective cartoons aired, and also exploring both Wile E and Tom as characters and their respective narratives in which they live by. You know what, with Wile E essentially being a slave to the laws of Chuck Jones, and Tom basically, partaking in this game of cat and mouse in its own fun and twisted way. Yeah, well, there were some bits I did not expect, of course, like the whole mythology and and Tom and Jerry chase. I mean, it's not exactly in spirit of the usual Tom and Jerry episode, but it's a fun addition nonetheless. They covered a whole lot of ground with both characters and talked about every single thing they could get their hands on. Well, everything really that I know of. Oh boy, it was a whole lot. I'm talking about mountain loads of weapons, insane gadgets, and magic spells. As for the fight itself, not gonna lie, I wish I have seen Wile E and Tom show off their more zany stuff, and I also wish we gotten a clearer picture of Jerry and the Roadrunner driving that truck like it's no one's business. I don't know what sort of license they have, but Vin Diesel's got nothing on those two. Those two are their own family. And family is important. Now, watching the episode felt like watching a typical cartoon of Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry, more so the latter, as Tom was chasing that asshole rodent like it's a Tuesday. And just as he was about to eat his dinner, it was ruined by the Coyote, who himself was catching his own dinner. And when dinners are ruined, fists are bound to fly. And fly they did, as those two turned the whole house into a literal battlefield. And Wile E was blasting at Tom with every gadget he got, while Tom was countering with items of his own, and even moving around the battlefield with things like the invisibility potion. Boy, that was some crazy stuff. Now, it was kind of weird that Tom lost most of his lives without even grabbing them all the minute a plane crash landed on him. But I see that as a moment of raising the stakes. The same stakes that have been raised even higher the minute that Wile E attempted to aim the DNA dissolver, only for it to, well, sort of backfire and take away both of their toon forces as they crash landed and, well, let's say they got in a case of broken bones or something like that. And you know, it was that moment, you know, that only one of them was gonna win. And yeah, you know what? About that fight, another thing I like about it, besides the action, well, was Wile E speaking with his own sign language, his literal sign language, only for Tom to basically turn those against him, and even utter a few of his sign language of his own. And there were moments in the fight in which they both gotten their chance to actually speak. But yeah, those were the fun parts of the fight. Yeah, those helped make the fight funnier, in addition to everything else. While watching that fight, I didn't know exactly who would win. I mean, it could go either way, honestly. Generally speaking, it could go either way. But boy, I actually thought Tom won. You know, the minute that big ass house landed on Wile E. But no, plot twist. No, it was Tom who actually got crushed instead. And Wile E saved himself with his genius brain and an umbrella. Well, there's not much I can say about the post-analysis, but it does certainly help explain their version of events, on who they thought won the episode and why. I mean, I have no problems with the post-analysis. Not much I can say, if anything at all, to disagree or anything like that. I mean, regardless of the outcome, I can safely say it was a very fun episode to watch overall. But yeah, this has been my fan art for Wile E Coyote versus Tomcat, made about a year ago. Now here's the main power-up I made for this episode recently. I call it ACME Catastrophe. Essentially, it turns her into a furry by granting her ears, claws, and tails of a hybrid of a coyote and a cat, in addition to having Toon Force regeneration and the ability to summon a catalog that lets her summon any weapon or object or even any crazy gadget out of thin air. But that would leave her vulnerable to anything or anyone who can negate a Toon Force regeneration, and it also gives her a bad case of bad luck. And that's what I got for today's video. If you enjoyed it, then please feel free to subscribe, share, do all that good YouTube stuff. But for now, that's all, folks.